Come on in. We don't got a lot of time, all right? You got a big presentation tomorrow, maybe a job interview that you're trying to get, or a school assignment that you're trying to ace. The point is, right now, there is a feeling in your stomach of the butterflies that has arisen. Your heart is probably doing sprints, and you are now hours into your YouTube rabbit hole trying to figure out how to learn how to speak more confidently. You are not alone. Right before I did my first TEDx talk, I had less than 24 hours to write it and then only 3 days to memorize it. And guess what happened when I reached that stage? It was flawless, just like the other hundreds of times that I've been on stage over the last 20 years. My name is Queena, and I am an Emmy Award-winning poet and public speaker. I've been doing it for over 20 years, but I'm brand new to YouTube, so if you are interested in learning how to up-level your communication and become just as persuasive as any poet that you have seen, be sure to subscribe to my channel. So we're going to get right into it. So I'm going to start off with the main core of my message. If you walk away from this video only remembering one thing, let it be this. Under prepare. I know it sounds backwards, but hear me out. Most people don't choke because they're under prepared. They choke because they're overwhelmed. They choke because they're overloaded and that you put too much pressure on yourself. You know what I mean. It'd be 1 a.m. and you're researching AI speaking apps and voice enhancers, wondering if ChatGPT can magically turn you into Obama overnight. It can't. More importantly, you're forgetting the magic of actually presenting, being present, you being present. Public speaking nervousness comes from trying to control every single detail. When you do that, your brain is sprinting at 100 miles an hour, so then your words can't catch up. What are you going to do then? Your body goes into survival mode. So instead of cramming, I want you to do something a little different tonight. We're going to sit with the material. We're going to breathe, which is the thing that every person wants to hear. Stay calm, relax, right? Because the easiest way for you to come off more prepared and confident isn't adding more slides or learning more tactics, rewriting your script. In fact, I have 3 small behavior changes that I do every single time I speak, and none of them requires you changing your presentation. And it doesn't matter if you have a month, a week, or a day for you to be able to do these. You do these 3 things in any amount of time, and you are going to look like an authority on stage, okay? 3 things. Let's go. Number 1, we are going to nail the intro. If you only have time to practice one thing, let it be your introduction, because starting is the hardest part. That's where your fear lives. That first minute when all the eyes are on you and you're still trying to convince somebody that you belong there, that is the hill to climb. Think about it like this. Any great speech is going to follow an arc, okay? Just like any good story follows an arc. You got an intro, you got a middle, and you got an end. The thing about it is the intro here, that first 1 minute to 5 minutes when you're on stage, that right there is the scariest part. Scary getting up on here. Almost as scary as my drawing abilities, but maybe it'll get better as we go along. All right. So right here is really scary. And the reason why it's scary is because all that pressure that you put on yourself trying to over prepare, you're finally getting to the moment where you're saying to yourself, like, it's here, it's happening. Don't mess up. Don't do that. And that is what's going to cause you to mess up. Nailing that intro is crucial. Because once you do, momentum takes over. Momentum is what builds confidence. This right here, you want this to be your confidence, right? You want this to follow your confidence. In order for you to do that, this is where your intro is at. Okay. Jesus. All right, I'm trying here. All right, so this is where your intro is at. And this is how you want your confidence to flow. You want it to increase, right? All right. So tonight, make your introduction your priority. All right. Say it out loud. Read it. Listen back. Tweak your tone so that it feels natural. You don't need to know every word. Just the first few moments of the first few minutes. Be sure to think about what it's going to be like when you first step on stage. Not the entire speech. Okay. Just when you first step on stage. When you first enter into the room and you start to have a conversation with the person who's interviewing you. Or as soon as you get up in front of the classroom. What is it going to feel like and sound like? And what would the bravest version of yourself do? You know, like envision what that is going to be. Nail that intro, because once you nail that intro, everything here in the middle is going to be you comfortable, right? You're going to start to get comfortable. If you get people to smile, laugh, lean in, all those things are going to make you feel like you're commanding the stage more, and it's going to increase your ability for you to be able to get through it. Think about it. If you were to start off with your intro shaky, you're going to be in the middle of your thing like, dang, nah, I started off bad. I feel like they're going to notice. They're going to start tripping. Maybe I lost them already. Then now you in your head, right? You don't want to be in your head. The only thing you want to be in your head about is like, oh, wait, they actually like me. I'm going to keep going. I'm going to keep doing this. And the reason why the thing goes down, right, is because you're going to be getting to the end. That's what we want to do. We want to build confidence so we get to comfort, and then we can get to the end. Right. And in order for us to do that is to make sure we have the best start. It's just like whenever people are running those like 4x4 relay races. If you don't have a good start coming off of the bricks, it doesn't matter your skill level. You are going to be behind. You don't want to do that. Give yourself the best advantage, because you kicking off with a strong start could make up for any lack of skill or nervousness that you may have throughout your speech. So nail that intro. All right. Number 2, you want to learn how to be a better speaker? Add pauses. Yep. If you want to learn how to be a better speaker, learn how to stop speaking. Learn how to hear the silence of the room. Most people think that confidence sounds like constant talking. That if you speak faster or you provide more information, that you are more knowledgeable about something, and that's just not the case. It doesn't work like that. Confidence sounds like control. When you're nervous, you're gonna speed up, and you know people who be talking fast, and typically somebody who's talking fast doesn't want you to realize that they don't actually know what they're talking about. Hey everybody, I just want you to know that what? Whose brain moves like that? I know mine don't. If you rush your sentences, you can cut yourself off. And once you do something like that, you're going to lose power in the room, and you want to keep the energy. The secret weapon to being a great speaker is pauses. They give your words room to land, and it gives your audience time to think. And most importantly, it gives you time to think. And I know that that's hard. And it's typically hard because most people think to themselves that they just want it to be over. So in order for me to get to the end, I'm just going to talk faster. Listen, that's not how it works, because more likely than not, if you go with that path, you might end up in a scenario where you start rambling. And you know what happens when you ramble? You end up being up on that stage or in that conversation or on that topic longer than you ever anticipated, because you're just trying to fill the gap and the space and the silence with words. Don't do that. Fill it with silence. So try this. When you are going to be finishing your key thought, take a 2-second pause. Maybe even take a sip of water if you have it. Look down at your notes. Make eye contact with somebody in the room. Let the silence work for you, not against you. Because silence is not weakness. It's confidence, right? If you see somebody who goes up on stage and they take a moment to be quiet while they speak, it makes it look like you have a command of the room. It makes it look like you have authority, that you don't mind being seen or heard. Just doing that, taking a 2-second pause in your mind. Yeah, I'm telling you. All right, add pauses. Okay, last but certainly not least, number 3. You are going to internalize, not memorize. All right. We are not here to do that. Let's be honest. We don't have enough time to memorize this thing anyway. Okay. And you're going to sound rehearsed. And that's not necessarily the best case scenario that you want people to do, because, the best speakers sound like they're having a conversation with you, right? If you try to memorize something and you're still dealing with pressure or frustration, you're going to end up frustrated. Even as you're memorizing it, you're repeating it over and over again. Maybe if you mess up, you get frustrated. You start to add pressure to yourself. It feels like punishment. And then you're panicking whenever you forget a word. And God forbid that happens when you're on stage, because now your worst nightmare has come true, and the sound of crickets is howling in the room, and your mind has now went blank. Instead of you trying to share the message, you're worrying about the line or the sentence that needs to come next in order for people to understand you. Forget perfection. Forget it. Forget it. Be imperfect. All right. This video has plenty of imperfections, even as I'm trying to explain this to you, but it's really just about confidently relaying the idea. That's what you're here to do, not read a script. Internalizing, it means knowing your message, not your lines. All right. It means understanding the story deeply enough that you could speak differently each time and still mean it. You know exactly what that feels like, because I'm sure that there's a story that you tell with your friends or with your family that you've said over and over and over again, right? Or somebody who has that one story about the baseball game. Like, every single time you hear it, they may add some nuance, some detail about the room or the space, but the central idea remains the same. So you need to treat your speech just like that. If you want to see whether or not you've internalized your message, if you can answer these two questions, you're good. Okay? If you can answer these two questions, then no matter what type of presentation you're going to be doing, you're going to be okay. All right? Here's the two questions. Unhide this layer. Okay. Here are the two questions, right? If you can answer these two questions, you're solid. Number one, what is the one thing you want people to remember? What is it? What is it? What is the one thing you want people to remember? If people are going to walk away with something, what is it going to be? Subtly enough, I actually did it in this video. The one thing I want you to walk away with is be underprepared. Take the pressure off of yourself and just alleviate it by doing these few different things, right? So what is it that you want the audience to walk away with? This is going to be crucially important, because if you could answer this question, if you got a 5-minute presentation, you can honestly answer this question. You could be answering this question over the course of 5 minutes. Seriously, right? Not to say that I would suggest doing that, but you seriously could, right? So that's the first question. The second question to tell whether or not you've internalized your message is, why does that matter? Why? Why does it matter? If you are in a job interview and you want them to walk away with the fact that you are somebody who takes initiative, why does that matter? Taking initiative is important for you in job interviews because it means that you are an effective problem solver. And in your past positions, you have increased sales and revenue by making these small changes when nobody asked for you to do them, right? These are all beneficial things that you want them to walk away with. The thing about it is that if you're going to be doing anything, whether it's a classroom presentation, an interview, or you're actually doing a keynote, no matter what it is, people are only going to walk away with maybe 1 or 2 pieces of information. You didn't memorize your speech. They're not going to do it either. Okay? They're not going to do all that. That's not what it's there for. All right. If you can answer these 2 questions, you could arguably create a 5-minute speech just on that. Right. So if you want that one thing to be that you're taking initiative, like let's say you're in a job interview and you want that one thing to be that you take initiative, then share a story about a time that you took initiative and then talk about how that impacted your team. And then the why is, how does it benefit the people inside of the room? What is the one thing you want them to learn? And then how does it benefit them? Because at the end of the day, this conversation is not about you. It's about the people that you're talking to, the people that you're scared of talking to, at least. All right, so let's go for the recap. When you only have 24 hours to prepare, you do not have time to become a new person. All right, so calm down. We're going to simplify and focus on the things that will give you the most power. Focus on the things that you can shift with the least amount of time and the least amount of energy possible to make the biggest impact. So we want to make sure we underprepare, which realistically means, I'm just trying to say, take away some of that pressure. We want to underprepare so that your mind has room to think. We want to perfect your introduction so that your confidence has room to grow. We want to add pauses so that your words have room to breathe. And we internalize so that your message has room to live. Every great speaker starts somewhere. And right now you're starting here. Not as someone who needs to be flawless, but as someone who's brave enough to show up. So show up. There's no need for you to show up perfect because nobody is and nobody expects you to be that anyway. So I wish you the best of luck. Go ahead and crush that presentation. If you like this video, please like and comment. Subscribe if you're interested in learning how to persuade like a poet. I'll see you guys in the next one.